Hey guys, this is my Dare to Defy Stage 4 run featuring the Phoenix bosses from the World of Illusion Spiritus Ramos stage. The Dare to Defy version of the fight should be simpler though, because you have access to a wider variety of a roster since you don't have to worry about those pesky mission requirements. There's two ways to go about the fight. You could still blitz through the fight, but you would need to do 2 force times. The second force time when the bosses go on the final offensive and then quickly burn through 49% of their health. Or you can do this strategy, which is just waiting for them to complete all 20 turns in their force time, and then after which you will automatically win the game. The centerpiece here would be Beatrix, since my Celeste is locked into stage 2. Beatrix works fairly well as well, and in this run I got it done with just 1 force time and without popping summon mode to boot. One of the challenges though in the fight is that the boss can land a nasty sap debuff on you, which batteries them for over 100,000 max brave each time you get a turn. But that's where the second character comes in, which is Maria. If Maria's LD trap is on the enemy, it doesn't matter how much brave they have because they will be shaved down all the way each time they get their turn. So that way she perfectly counters the sap debuff. Maria also fits in very nicely with this strategy because for one thing, she provides the off-turn damage that helps during Beatrix's force time, and for another, of course, she has a range of burst heals available, which ensures that you survive and top up your health right at the end of the fight. To make full use of Maria during Beatrix's force time, you do need to thunder enchant her, and that's where the third character comes in, and that's Garnet. Garnet is useful here for a couple of reasons. One is that she also has burst heal capability through her EX and LD. Secondly, as mentioned, she provides the Thunder Enchant so that the entire party can hit for Thunder Elemental damage. Thirdly, of course, she provides very strong auras through her BT, and this helps to ensure that you can bring the bosses all the way to 9% with just 1 force time. To maximize the use of the team and to minimize the turn count, I also removed all the speed passives across all 3 characters. And as always, I will list in the video description the passives that I removed, so you can refer that if you need more information on the setup. Beatrix and Garnet also has 5/5 ultimate weapon, but Maria is only at force level 10 and she doesn't have any ultimate weapon. Alright, here you see the enemy using an attack called Storm Surge Plus. This is an attack to take note of, and they will only use this when they get an instant consecutive turn. The notable thing about this attack is that it ignores damage mitigation, which means that the Warrior of Light LD call as well as Beatrix's Holy Knight protection cannot negate the HP damage from Storm Surge Plus. The counterpart to this, which is the Dark Surge attack from the Dark Phoenix mode, can be mitigated, so that is an important distinction to make. Anyway, at the start it's just waiting until you get a 100% force gauge, and there shouldn't be too many difficulties getting there. What I did at the start is go into Garnet's BT mode just to get her BT aura up, since the other 2 characters don't have any BT weapons. You also want to always ensure that the bosses are debuffed by Maria's LD trap. And lastly, you want to of course ensure that Beatrix's Rose Petals as well as the Noble Loyalty buff from her Thunderflash is up on your party. At 89%, the boss will get the instant turn as you have seen, and they will use Storm Surge Plus, but with the healing from Maria, that shouldn't really cause an issue. You'll take about 40 to 50% HP damage, but the next turn that they take, you will heal back most of the HP lost anyway, so don't worry too much about that attack. On hindsight, I think it's maybe better not to use Beatrix's additional ability here. You might want to save it for the later parts of the fight. In any case, right here is where I enter force time. The idea of force time here is to stretch it out, and if you do so, you should be able to bring the boss all the way to 9% in this one force time. If you can't, just pop Brother Summon when you have one turn of force time remaining, and you should then be able to bring the boss to 9% inside summon mode. Don't have to worry about saving summon mode because you won't really need it when the bosses go on the final offensive. Also, since Beatrix is the one starting the force time, she should be the character whose turn will come up when there is one turn of force time remaining, and that's quite important. You'll see that later on in the fight. If Beatrix's turn is not going to be the last turn in force time, what you can do is to try to manipulate the turns by using additional abilities to try to line Beatrix's turn up so that she takes the final turn. Otherwise, the rest of force time is pretty straightforward. As long as you keep Maria's traps up, you should never really be at any risk of dying throughout the entire force time. My recommendation is do not use Garnet's EX at all during the force time. Not only does it burn one precious turn of force time, you really actually do want to use her EX when the bosses go on the final offensive as well, because that provides a quick way to heal the entire party as well as land her Imperil debuffs on the bosses. As I'm melting through the bosses, quick mention about the call abilities. What I said is a Yuna call, a Setzer call, as well as a Warrior of Light call. Do not use any of the call abilities until you are in the final offensive part of the fight. In this strategy, the call abilities serve as added layers of protection. You probably don't need all of them, so don't worry if you're missing one or two of the call abilities. But the more defenses you have, the better it is, because at the last part of the fight, it doesn't really matter how much damage you do, it's just a matter of making it through the 20 turns of enemy force time. Since there's nothing much else to be said about this part of the fight, I'll just fast forward to the end of the force time. Okay, so I'm at the final turn of Force Time, and as you can see, Beatrix's turn will come up pretty soon, and both bosses are already at a 9% threshold. What you want to do with Beatrix here is to use her Holy Knight protection. Why is this helpful? Well, Beatrix's Holy Knight protection will start with 2 turns, and normally she will get an instant turn. But as you can see right here, when you come out of Force Time, the boss will immediately use their Force attack, and that actually breaks Beatrix, which is a good thing because by doing so, she actually preserves the 2 turns of her Holy Knight protection, and you are protected against most attacks until her Holy Knight protection runs out. The only attack that's not protected for would be the Storm Surge Plus, which I just ate, and you can see it brought me pretty low. In case you're worried about Garnet dying, don't worry, she can't. She has Last Stand. And as long as you survive the Storm Surge Plus, you're guaranteed to survive the next part of the fight due to Holy Knight protection. So it might look a bit scary here, but nothing else can actually hurt you. During this time, you want to set up the Warrior of Light call right before Holy Knight protection runs out. So what I do first is use the Yuna LD call to cleanse the debuffs so that there are enough buff slots for the Warrior of Light shield. The EX used here was a mistake. I actually should have either used Thunderflash Plus for the Noble Loyalty buff or her LD for the LD debuff. I think on hindsight, using LD there would probably be better. Anyway, Garnet's turn is where I pump her EX to fully heal everyone and reapply her debuffs. I decided to just spam additional abilities so that I can trigger her Immaculate Judgment attack to get another buff up. And this way I can use the Warrior of Light LD call and then end her turn using PT+. Now the Warrior of Light shield wouldn't actually last very long, and on Garnet it will actually run out pretty fast because the bosses are locked on to her, but that's fine. You can actually also use the Warrior of Light base call to refresh his shields, and the combination of the LD call and base call would last for a big chunk of the enemy's Force Time. Don't forget also that with the Yuna call, you can still use Asuna for one more round of party cleanse. And I would recommend to use that right before you reapply Warrior of Light shields, just in case you need to clear up some buff slots. The final defensive call that I have is the Setzer base call. And the goal is to try to make it until the enemies are around 6 or 7 Force Time remaining. When that happens, just use the Setzer base call, and that should be enough to carry you the rest of the way. Notice that at this point, Summon is still not yet used, so if you still haven't used Summon at this point, you can save it as an emergency button. Say if for some reason your defensive calls have failed and you've taken catastrophic HP damage, you can just pop Summon to buy you enough time to heal, either with Garnet or Maria. This stage actually allows for a lot of HP damage. You can still meet all the mission requirements as long as you take less than 50,000 HP damage, which is pretty generous. So don't worry, if you've taken some residual damage before ending the fight. With regards to alternatives, if you don't have Yuna call, you can consider using a Ceodore LD call, which provides party-wide debuff cleansing as well as burst heal, or you can consider using a Paine LD call, which cleanses all debuffs as well as dispel all enemy buffs. Ultimately, I went for Yuna mainly since that she provides 2 uses of debuff cleansing, but in a pinch you really only need 1 use. You could also just enter into a second force time with Beatrix and just finish off the bosses that way, but personally I thought it's kinda cool to just, finish the fight the way it was intended and let the bosses kill themselves. Okay, I actually made it all the way to force time turn 3 before I used Setzer base call, so there's really a lot of leeway. And even if you're missing Setzer base call, I think it's really not much of an issue. You can maybe just use like a Rydia LD call, which provides only 2 turns each per boss of protection, but you can see it's actually good enough. Anyway, that's the end of Defy Stage 4. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Dare to Defy stage. Bye!